Hi and welcome to Makeup Mugwump. My name is Leanne. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to do today's video. I just got inspired like 13 seconds ago to do this video. I was watching, as I was doing my skincare, I was watching Monica Adriana. She's somebody I followed for a long time on here. She doesn't know who I am. She did a video that one of her subscribers recommended that she do, and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to do that too. And it is a full face of nostalgic makeup. So I dug back into the back of the Alex 9 drawers and all around this room, and I'm going to put really old things on my face. I don't know if this is a good idea skincare wise, but it's gonna happen. So I can't. It's just, it makes me so excited. I'm looking at all these products and I'm getting a little overclamped, you know. Back when I started to wear makeup, I wore a little bit in high school, but not much. I didn't know what I was doing. And I began to watch YouTube probably, oh gosh, maybe 16, 15 years ago. I mean, it was early that I started to use YouTube as a place to research things I didn't know about. And makeup was one of those things. So I was always fascinated by it, but didn't know what all the things were. Very intimidated and afraid to look foolish. So I did not wear it, and then began to learn about it. And back in those days, I had no makeup. So when I began to purchase, drugstore, like low cost, and searching for dupes of things that other folks were using, and folks that were using all drugstore. I followed those so quickly. Very first person I ever followed here on YouTube was Emily Noel, and she was very good about reviewing very low cost things. She still is. And so I'm going to actually do 2 of these videos, I think. This version will be the lower cost. So the things that are nostalgic for back in the day, like some of these are like the first one I purchased, and some of these are of that time period. I hope that you recognize some of these things, get a good giggle out of some of them too, but also inspire you to use things that may be older and that bring you joy, because all of this is bringing me such joy just to look at. So let's take a walk down memory lane, drugstore style. We will do another one of like maybe my first high-end, my first Sephora, really. My first Sephora purchases of items. So let's do this. I have 2 primers to show you today. Y'all, it's gonna be a fun time. Anybody? The Nivea Post Shave Balm as a primer. I also could have pulled the Milk of Magnesia bottle out of somewhere. I never used that, but do you remember folks using that? This is the OG bottle that I bought. Yep. The other one that I'm actually going to use on my face. Do you remember this? This L'Oreal Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer. There's dust. I have not squirted it out. Okay. It smells fine. We're probably going to have to smell everything today because, oh my goodness. This product was old school. Like, I've got way too much again, but it's okay. This was, and I did not use this as much as I probably should have, because now I really love glow underneath my foundation. Way too much. And so if I had really liked this as much as I do now, this bottle would be gone. I don't think I've ever used 1-Up before. So this is the original. I'm probably going to regret. My skin is going to like hate me. It's okay. Don't worry about it. The things we do for you people. It is, no, really, I'm doing this for me, but y'all are just happen to be along for the ride. It is super glowy. It's like a moisturizer. It feels like a moisturizer. It goes on like that. It's not thin. It's not like super thick, but it's not as thin as some of like the highlighters that I put on or some of the primers that I use today that are glowy. It's not like that. It is, she's a little bit thicker. I forgot eye primer. It's up there. I know exactly which one it is. Hold on. Do I have one down here? I don't think I do. Give me a second. I'll go grab my eye primer that is sitting right up there. The very first eye primer that I used was the e.l.f. $1 in the tube black lid eye primer. And I used up so many of those because a lot of e.l.f. products were some of my very first that I ever bought. I'm going to use this, but know that this is a high-end one. It will be the same for the high-end. It's the Painterly. This is one of the very first things that I bought when I began to use makeup, even though it's not drugstore. And that's because I thought there was nothing at the drugstore that was like this. And I was kind of right. There's still, we've got some e.l.f. products now and things like that, but Painterly was the bee's knees. I'm just going to put a little bit, but e.l.f., the one in the tube that it was a hard tube. It was what I actually used, but I have not got that. I have used them up so much. It did do a little bit of color correcting, like there was some pigment to it, but it wasn't so that's why I'm shearing out Painterly as much instead of what I would normally do. It was kind of like that. So we'll do the best we can with that. There's also, I don't think I have like nostalgic mascara. I mean, like I don't think, there's a couple of things that I might not have like the old school version of, or I didn't really have a preference. I just used whatever at the time. But that Magic Lumi does give glow, and it's there. We're there. But y'all, come on. Please drop a comment below if you tried this. If you did this. I'm going to put it on my face this week. You wait. You wait. Okay, let's talk foundation. Let's go. Let's go down memory lane together. I have so many foundations, and it is probably disturbing how many that I have still. But here are the 3 that did it. One less so. This is the one that's probably the least, but it was one of the first drugstore products that I bought multiples of because I had like kind of different shades that I would mix. This is the first one that was the least expensive that I did that with. So this one is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. I don't know how many bottles of this. The shade that came out probably the most recently that matches me is called Rose Ivory. This is in porcelain. I've got a few different shades of this. And it smells like paint. It's not, it's fine. Don't worry about it, but it does. But here's the next one. Do you remember the grip that this had over YouTube? This is the Outlast Stay Fabulous 3-in-1. I have it in shade 805. This is not my first bottle. This is old school. This is Ivory. We loved her. Like, loved her. Who remembers Garnier BB cream? She's super runny. She's very orangey. This is light medium. I believe it was the lightest shade that they had. There were several different versions of this, as in like, there was like an oily, there was like, this is the Miracle Skin Perfector. So there were different versions. This one has salicylic acid in it, but this is very thin. And I think it was probably one of the thinnest, not thin. This is one of the thinnest foundation products that folks were recommending. And I Drugstore was, and I was all about it. I have the old school Revlon. I've got like lots of old school foundations, many Rimmel, many versions of Rimmel foundations. I looked for but couldn't find. If I can, I will do another video of this, because the NYC foundation was probably one of my first. Should we try this Garnier? Like, let's, is she as orange as I remember? Let's clean her off. Let's see what we can do here. Oh no, it's squirting out absolute water. That's a negative, Liam. This one's got to go in the trash. This one is beyond help. So RIP, we're going to throw her away together. RIP. Let's use, I don't necessarily want to put bacteria directly on my, let's try CoverGirl. Come on, CoverGirl. I also really loved one of their, oh, what was it called? Oh, it was in a tube. It was pink. I'll think of it and then shout it to you in the middle of another sentence. But it was discontinuing, and I bought like 4 because they were like $2 or whatever. And I was like, yes. And I've used up several of them over the years. I can't remember. Okay, so Outlast, Stay Fabulous, 3-in-1, CoverGirl. Let's use the original brush too. This is the e.l.f. powder brush that is from back in the day. This is the OG brush as far as like it's broken, and so I know it. The color? We'll find out. I do have a damp sponge to help. I'm not using all OG tools because, but I used an OG tool for the eye primer. This is the Deluxe Crease Brush from Real Techniques, of my first Real Techniques brush set that I ever bought. All my tools were Drugstore for quite a while too, because buying all those got expensive. I did not get a beauty blender for many years. I did try a couple of like sponges from TJ Maxx that were a few dollars, but they were rock hard, and I couldn't figure out why people loved the beauty blender if it hurt when you used it. And the answer was they were not nearly the right formulation of sponge that was soft, until the Miracle Complexion sponge came out from Real Techniques. And then I did purchase that, and I still use those to this day. They're absolutely amazing. Look at her. Outlast, Stay Fabulous. Oh my. How long has she been? Let's build her up. Let's go. This has been, oh my gosh. This one was so, I mean, folks use this like nobody's business. It's actually still a decent shade match for me, which is nice. I don't think I ever actually put foundation on with my hands. I do now for a couple of different formulas, but I think that was part of the problem, is that I didn't know how until I saw someone use a brush, and then I was like, oh, that makes, because I thought the liquid with powder, the liquid with a brush would be like, it's counterintuitive. I knew people use brushes for powder, but not for liquid. But that was probably one of the first things that I was like, my mind was blown that was part of how people put on makeup when I watch YouTube. Look at that. Gorgeous. Okay. Love it so much. Love it. So let's talk concealer, because I have a couple that I remember from over the years, but the two that really I remember, like, I want this brand and this one. One is the Maybelline Age Rewind, like, thing with the sponge. 2 would be the Maybelline Fit Me. Those are the two that I remember. I mean, I've probably bought every concealer in the drugstore now over the years, but these two are the ones that bring me the nostalgia. The corrector in this one is real pink, and I didn't really understand color correction yet, but it worked for me because the pink counteracts my blue. The Fit Me concealer, gosh, we haven't used this in a hot minute. It's fine. It's fine. This is in, I think, the shade 15. It wasn't quite, it's in Fair. It wasn't quite light enough. You know, see, it's even more, it's yellowish. But I used it and I liked it. There was a CoverGirl concealer that I really liked and that I still like. If I got one up here? No. I have some concealers on my vanity and some behind me. I don't have her up here. But I liked quite a number of concealers. It was the way to get them to blend in and not look so crazy. That was what, until I got the beauty sponge, I had a hard time with concealers because I couldn't get them to blend the way that other girls it looked, and so I had a hard time. Let's set with the I never baked. I could never bake because it never worked for me. But this little tiny e.l.f. under eye setting powder that had glitter in it, yep, went through several of these over the years. And now I use the Laura Mercier under eye brightening powder. Does the same thing, but without glitter. But yep, we're going to do the glitter today because that's what we used. I can't remember. It was, I don't even know that it had like a shade. It was just this white. And when you got in the car, you could see the glitters. But I'm telling you. Sheer. That's the shade. It's this no name, whatever. But it was it for me. I loved it. 2 different powders that I used to slam death was I had a loose and a pressed, and I'm gonna show you both. Pressed, Rimmel Stay Matte. Like, you couldn't bring it anywhere with you because this thing didn't, I mean, yes, it was on, but it would come off in a heartbeat. This is the transparent, and she's a little bit yellowish. And then, of course, the OG, the Coty Airspun. I love Coty Airspun. I still love Coty Airspun. There's nothing wrong with her. I'm going to use her today because I love it. The smell, the everything. I have different versions of Coty Airspun over the years. It's odoriferous. I did not use a puff back in the day. I would use a brush, but it is the queen of powders. You buy one of these, it'll last you forever, especially if you don't use a lot of powder, like I'm not putting much on and just pressing it in. It'll last you years. I don't think I've ever used a Coty Airspun up, but I think I've combined, like I've dumped the powder of one that was almost gone into another. Let me tell you about her. She is everything. Get you one, go to the store. Smell like your grandma in the best possible way. I'm telling you, those two, amazing. I'm hoping you're having as good of a time as I am because I totally am. This is everything. It's everything. Okay, so eyebrows to me back in the day, I didn't know what to do with them. The first brow product that I got was a MAC product. Again, I saved up for it. It was like a pomade. And I'll show it to you on the higher end one. But probably the very first products that I did use would be e.l.f. I bought e.l.f. everything. I'm going to use the Instant Lift brow pencil today. It's still the one that I'm using right now, but it would have been probably that little powder duo from e.l.f. that, well, actually it wasn't a powder duo, it was a wax and a powder, but it was definitely e.l.f. I had e.l.f. everything except foundation. I didn't like their foundation very much back in the day. I did not like their mascaras at all. And there were a couple other things that I had other products for, but I tried every $1 e.l.f. product that they had, y'all. And then when the studio line came out that was $3, tried those too. I did not put anything other than like powder or pencil. I didn't have any kind of brow gel. I didn't do anything like that. Of course, I saw the girls using the Anastasia stuff. Eventually, I got Anastasia stuff from, you know, like all the influencers using it and being sent it and stuff. But I to this day, Anastasia is good, but I mean, I get just as good use out of everything else. So it's not a necessary thing for me. Okay, probably some of my favorite things to pull were bronzers, blushes, and highlights. So let's take a walk down memory lane. This was not easy to get. You had to order it online if you lived anywhere that there wasn't a body shop. But do you remember this? For fair girls, this is that Body Shop Honeycomb bronzer. It was called the Bronzing Powder, and this is in the shade Fair Matte. Do you remember this? It's fine. There's nothing like, but man, the girls went nuts that were fair. Let me tell you, that was a big one. But the two, the two that I used, came from some places. So the Dollar Tree had, it would have some specific, like some products that were like Dollar Tree branded, and then they would have like LA Colors, and they'd have other things. I would go to the Dollar Tree and that's where I would look for some products. And one of the things that I found in the Dollar Tree was this Beauty Benefits. It's called a pressed powder. It's a Marquins, which is the owner of Wet n Wild, and Black Radiance. This is, it's a pressed powder, but it was very glittery. I mean, not glittery, it's very sheeny. And of course, I use this as a bronzer, obviously. The other one was from Five Below. City Color was, it's being held together by tape. City Color was another product at Five Below that you could get. This is a Desert Treasures bronzer in Sandstorm. And again, she's being held together by tape because she had a long life. I used very little of that. I have used up some bronzers when I first got the first Park Avenue Princess Deluxe sample size. I used that completely up. I've used other things, but let me show you the old, I mean, talk about nostalgia. The old school bronzer for me was a pressed powder. So this is the Beauty Benefits. I've never seen it again, never heard of it again, but this was the one that I used, y'all. Let me tell you, did I use it? I still, to this day, will buy a contour bronzing product. I'm actually going to use a face product, so like a foundation product. So a concealer, I'll buy, if a new concealer comes out, I'll buy my shade for concealing, and then I'll also buy one for bronzing. Same thing with powders. I love a face powder as a bronzer because it's not as pigmented. Hang on, I'm going to blend. But it is also, it's formulated to blend in. This, gosh, this brings such memories. Oh my goodness. I should go ahead and use this up. But it does make me happy. It's a beautiful shade. $1. Back when the Dollar Tree was $1. So nostalgic. Okay, for blush, I have 3 different things out here. e.l.f. The $3 Studio blushes I used quite a bit, but there were other blushes besides the e.l.f. that I used. I really loved sleek blushes. This is one in Life's a Peach. I really liked sleek makeup. I was watching a lot of UK YouTubers. This was not easy to find, but I did. But I wanted to remember the sleek moments. I also like their eyeshadow palettes. Do you remember the Wet n Wild Fergie blushes that came out? I do. This is her Center Stage collection. You want to talk about like that hot pink? This is called Brush with Danger. We might use her today. Probably my most nostalgic blush was a gift from my mom. This is the Hard Candy Fox in a Box. It's called Girl Next Door. It's a marbleized baked blush. And this girl is everything. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I love duping the Benefit. Yes, box blushes. It's so shiny and glowy. I have a blush tag, and this is my favorite party blush. It was so good. I'm going to start with the Fergie. Let's look at the Fergie one on, because I haven't used this in years and I'm excited to use it. Let's try her out real quick. She is pink, y'all. Yes. That Dior Rosy Glow or whatever it's called. We got that. We got that from the drugstore back in the day. Yes, we did. There's nothing new under the sun. But man, I have hit pan in another Wet n Wild blush, but those Wet n Wild blushes were probably not just the Fergie ones, but the mainstay, like Mellow Wine, Pearlescent Pink. You know, those I had all of them. I still do somewhere, and they are still great. I mean, come on, you can't beat that with a stick. All right, we're gonna use a little bit of this. I'm gonna show you real quick what this is. Look at that shine. It's gorgeous. I'm gonna blend, but man, that's gorgeous. I loved those. I loved all of those. How cute were we? Okay. Highlighter. The first highlighter I think I ever bought was Moonlit Pearls from e.l.f. In the little snap case that you had to like scratch it with a spoolie in order to get it going. It's around here somewhere, but I got some other ones out because these are also quite nostalgic for me. Anybody remember? This is the Physician Formula. It was at the drugstore, but none of that stuff was cheap, but I did it. I thought the packaging was everything. And it's bulky for sure, but this is the natural nude, and I used the top. You could of course use it as eyeshadow. We've done all kinds of, you know, multi products, but that top has been worn out. It's gorgeous. The other like power hitter was Wet n Wild. This is Blossom Glow. This is the OG. It was dupe for some Dior something or other, and it still is. Excuse me, a wonderful product. They'd also come out with ones for Halloween that, I mean, this one is just gorgeous. This one's called White Raven. Stop it. It was and is just stunning. It's gorgeous. I think I'm gonna go Physician's Formula for old time's sake. And this is my original highlighting brush. Back in, I don't remember how far back, the first year that Imager did a Secret Santa where you signed up to send a gift to another Imager and somebody else got your name. This was what I got because I put that I liked makeup. They sent me the mermaid brushes from Amazon along with some other things. This is my fan brush. It's still my fan brush. I love it so much. It's gorgeous. And it works marvelously. And I think fondly every time I use it. Stop it. I mean, you can't beat it with a stick. Has it still got the thing in the back? Of course it does. Look, we still got the things in the back in the packaging. What are you telling me? Beautiful. Let's blend some because we look a little crazy. How fun, though. Look how cute we are. All right, let's talk setting spray because my first setting spray was an e.l.f. one. And I don't still have it. It was the same exact packaging as their brush cleaner. Tell me how many times I got that wrong off my shelf. But yep, it was that dark gray bottle. If you remember, you remember. I don't have one. But another one that was, it's been a while, but this is probably my first dewy one that was on purpose dewy. This is the Catrice Prime and Fine. And it came in a squatter bottle. This is like the bigger one from their website. Smells good still. It is, I mean, like the scent is a good one. It took me a long time to get up enough nerve to spray my face after I'd worked on it with what I thought was water. Like, why would you do that? And then I watched a couple of girls on YouTube make their own setting spray. And it was like, okay, maybe. I did I really wanted a lot of MAC products like that. To me, that was like the brand. It still is to me, so don't get me wrong. Fix Plus was a huge one for me. It still is. I've got one. I always have one open and ready to use, because I'm never let down by it, ever, ever, ever. It's not necessarily specifically for a setting spray, but that's how I've always used it. And then also to wet brushes to foil eyeshadows. That's the other way that I used it. I never used it to, like I've never put on powder highlighters wet. Some folks did. I never did that because I didn't necessarily like how strong the highlighter would look. And so I never did that, but a lot of folks did back in the day. There's our glowy glow. I am going to real quick just take what's left on the Trigwell and press at the places I would look, I'm going to say greasy, but just get a little bit of that mattification right there. I look amazing. I look so good, y'all. Come on, come through, old school. All right, you want to talk eyeshadow palettes? Because I pulled two that I instantly thought of, okay? And then I went and pulled some more for just us to look at and giggle over. So the two that I instantly thought of, that I can't think of an eyeshadow palette and not think of these two. One is CoverGirl Shimmering Sands. This is this is my second one. I dropped the other one and it shattered, and I didn't know about repressing, so I threw it away. And then a few years later, I went ahead and picked it up again. So this is not the original one that I have. I also have it have another one depotted in my singles. And they are, excuse me, it was a different shape. I think it was a different shape. And it is, they're mixed in with my singles, and you can't tell what it is because I didn't label anything on the back. But Shimmering Sands was amazing. It still is amazing. You can get a beautiful look out of the drugstore with this. If you are fair specifically, come on. I mean, it's gorgeous. This is the first one I thought of. The second one I thought of was a limited edition Wet n Wild 6-pan. So Wet n Wild absolutely had everyone in the Cobra Clutch. for eyeshadows, and rightly so. Their Color Icon eyeshadow palettes were everything. This one is called California Roll, and the reason that I thought of this one is I loved it first, but this color story for me were the first warm eyeshadow, like anythings that I tried. I used this like nobody, and you're like, Leanne, it doesn't look like you used it. I know. It's because it's so pigmented that I didn't need much. I also use the greens. I would do a green look too. But I loved it. I absolutely loved this little eyeshadow palette so much. I loved it so much. Let's look at some others, because I pulled a bunch of other Wet n Wilds because I wanted to show you some. I wanted to remember. Of course, we all remember, you know, Walking on Eggshells. We all remember the Comfort Zone. All, you know, those that were super famous. But I don't know if you did this too. I went for anything that Wet n Wild Marquins actually put out. Black Radiance is a Wet n Wild brand. This is, I mean, just gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Grungy, beautiful. I have so many of their like, they put out these limited edition in the white pans. This is Flirting at the After Party. Look at this little pinky duochrome up here. Like, this is way back in the day. You didn't know this is Blue Had Me at Hello. Look, I mean, come on. This is another Black Radiance one. Oh, you remember this one? Oh, everybody was going for this one. Walking the Red Carpet. Gorgeous. This is Downtown Browns. This was, look, stop it. Gorgeous. This was like in their normal line. This is Pedal Pusher. But just amazing. And then the 3 pans. So look. Soldiers and Charms. Will You Marina Me? Zero Dark 30. This was 80 cents. I'm Feeling Retro. Enlist for Beauty. Then they started doing in these. So this is Floral Values, but this is like, if you wanted color, this is where you got it. Like, now you could get something a little more neutral. You could absolutely, but these are the ones that were not, except for Pedal Pusher, in their normal, like, everyday line. These were the ones that you had to, like, there were 3 in your local drugstore, maybe a Kmart, and you had to go get it, because you're fighting with the other folks in your town to go get it, because you couldn't, there was no ordering it online. It was nothing like that. The limited edition Wet n Wilds, you had to hustle to go out and get these. And I did. This is not all of them. I love them. There were girls that would depot them, and you know, mix them around and do all that. That was, to me, that was very risky, because you had to use the heat on the back, and I did not want to risk cracking these. Like, that was not a thing I was going to be willing to do. So yeah, I'm going to set these down. But man, can you remember that? Did you do that? Please tell me down below. I want to pull this one though before. Just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. This one, the Red Carpet one. I mean, maybe we can use this one today. I was going to use Shimmering Sands, but let's use this one, because why not? Shimmering Sands is amazing. Get it if you don't have it for your life. It's such, I mean, it travels just fine. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous eye look. It's absolutely stunning. But let's use the Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. They had, so there are imprints in them that say like brow bone, eyelid crease. And especially when I was new at makeup, I thought, okay, that's how we have to do it. And then of course, as I watched more YouTube, I'd get more, like adventurous or whatever with where I put colors and how I used colors. But let me tell you that it was everything. Okay. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited for for using something that it's been years. This is why I'm also doing a no buy. Like, this feeling here is what I want to recreate and to have in my everyday life as well, is stuff that brings me joy, and I have great memories. It's a wonderful product. I have not used this in years, and I should, because it's still really good stuff, and it's also really fun. Now, I know a lot of people, a lot of creators don't use like limited edition or older things because people can't get them, and it's not, to me, I mean, I show you new things and I talk about products, but also I really encourage us all to use what we have and to get the joy of what we have. And that's it for me. I'm sticking on this side for right now. And gosh, they are so pretty. They are so pretty. I mean, I remember watching Tati on her, when she would do coupon, like drugstore stuff on how to stack the coupons and then use your, cash back or whatever to get this thing. And I remember going into CVS and working like those deals where you could, you would get, your money back or your whatever bucks, and then you would buy this, and then that would stack with that, and all that. I remember doing that, and sometimes I would come out of CVS and they had paid me to take the makeup, and I remember those cashiers would be like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, "Yeah, dude." Yeah, dude. I never bought Physicians Formula unless I had coupons. Absolutely never bought Physicians Formula full price because it was way too expensive. It's still pretty spendy, but there are some products that are worth it. But I mean, never. I would never. But I also would, I would literally just wait for things to go on sale. I would have my coupons lined up, all that. I was no joke when it came to paying for it. My Kmart was not the best and the cleanest, but I would go and wait for things to go on sale and things like that. I absolutely would, and check back and things like that. Okay, so I've used all 4 of these, and it's a beautiful look. It's so pretty and neutral and gorgeous. And I think I'm not necessarily in the mood for a gold look, but I think we're gonna do it. And we're gonna use, you cannot tell me that this is not gorgeous. It's just as pretty as it can be. Stop it. I mean, I didn't have Sephora money. I wanted the Urban Decay Naked palette so bad, but I couldn't do it. And so I did these. Over time, I collected these. And they work just as good. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. if you got one of these in the back of your drawer, go get it out. Go get it out, y'all. I'm telling you. Let's line with this little definer down here. It's got goldy sparkles in it, and it's everything. Just a line of brush out here from the depths. I mean, it's just, stop. I'm using all 8 shadows in this thing. You could not tell me anything about drugstore makeup. You still can't. Because it's the bee's knees. The cat's meow. I used to wet my brush a lot to do eyeshadow liner too, just with Fix Plus or with water. Like I would do that. I used to think that that's the only way you could use eyeshadow as liner. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. Just a little fallout, but that's not bad. Look at that. I mean, just beautiful, just gorgeous. Jeez. Go pick this up for real. I'll do a look with this. I'll do a look with this for us because I love it so much. It makes me so happy. I loved it. I don't have a nostalgic mascara. I don't think that I felt strongly about mascara. I still kind of don't, in that I don't necessarily need like high-end or whatever. There weren't any that I coveted or longed for. I tried whatever was there. I remember a few of them I really liked. There was a Miss Manga one that I really, really liked. I think it was a L'Oreal. I really liked that one and used it for quite a while. The CoverGirl Super something or other I really liked. I might actually have a bottle in the back of my mascara drawer. My mascara drawer is probably a time capsule, but I don't want to necessarily open one just for today. I do have an open Lash Princess. This one's waterproof. The non-waterproof version is my drugstore and high-end. It's my all-time favorite mascara. The one in the with the green writing. This one just happens to be waterproof and open right now. Essence Lash Princess is the best mascara that I have ever had. And it's because it's so quick I can get the impact that I want with one pass. I don't have to double up or, you know, come back and put another coat on. I can do exactly what I want and go quick. And that's why I like Lash Princess. It's not that there aren't other mascaras that can give you the same effect or even bigger, greater, you know, wonderful lash. It's not that. It's that it's so quick and easy and it's cheap as chips. So I love it. I've got powder everywhere from all things. So we're down to one, and that is lips. I didn't want to wear lipstick that had color to it way back. I still love nudes more than anything. I don't know why. I think it's because I have one of these crazy fears of lipstick getting everywhere and looking silly and not knowing it. I don't want to look silly. I don't know. Again, it's back in the day. It's still a problem. But I have 3 different lippies that have some color that I use these formulas specifically back in the day. want our Revlon lippies. Come on. Like if you've never tried them, what are you doing? This one is in Smoky Rose. Come on. Just gorgeous. Do you remember these? These are the Almay Smart Shade Butter Kisses. And they came in like berry light, berry meat, or berry dark, or whatever, like nude light, all that. This is berry light medium, still smells good. This is probably one of the very first things that I ordered off the internet for makeup, and that's from ColourPop. I ordered from them when they introduced the lippy sticks. This is one of my favorite shades. This is in Lumiere. This was the Kathleen Lights color. I have many, many, many lippy sticks. But this formula was like one of my favorites of all time. With this eye look, I'm going to do the Smoky Rose real quick. I have so many Revlon lipsticks. I remember my Sears had like some sort of big old clearance. They had makeup at Sears, oddly enough. And I got a bunch of Revlon lippies for 50 cents. And I thought I was in heaven. I was in heaven. Come on. It's gorgeous. I'm gorgeous. This was so much fun. I'm so looking forward to to the high-end version of the nostalgia, because there are many. I have many things that I am thinking of that I coveted, saved up for, was so excited to get, and this feeling is just everything. It's the best. So tell me down below, what drugstore things were you all about? What did you absolutely love and use to slam death? I am so excited to hear your memories too. This is it. It's adorable. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. If you would, please hit like, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe. It really does help out my channel. Thanks all so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.